Hi there. As much as I respect what Valve has done with the Steam Deck, playing games such as Deliver Us the Moon, and frankly wasting money on The Last of Us Part 1, made me realise that the lack of out-of-the-box optimization is becoming a deal breaker for me, given I don't have the inclination to scan message boards or go through a trial and error exercise. While Steam Deck Verified aims to offer guidance as to whether games will play on the deck, I do think Valve should allow the community to upload graphic settings profiles onto Steam that can, at a touch of a button, be applied to games. Leveraging the community to review these profiles should help ensure the optimal settings are visible. Lazy, probably, but this lack of out-of-the-box optimization does make me crave the Switch 2 even more. Alex, I'm going to go to you on this one, first of all, because I do think there's a point here, and I also think there's still some sort of question of what Steam Deck Verified actually means in terms of the experience.
Right.
I'm curious what you make of this.
I know, at least for the Nixie ports, they've pushed for Steam Deck verification on a number of projects where I'd look at it and say, like, I want to play that game on the Steam Deck. Based upon the performance I see at like the lowest settings.
Horizon was the most recent one, I guess. So I'm not sure we looked at Tsushima on the deck, but
I heard that's better. I heard it's better.
Probably it's a PS4 game.
yeah, you'd hope so.
But Horizon, that was a bit gnarly, wasn't it?
It was gnarly, yeah, and I don't think it. I haven't gone back, but I haven't heard any rumblings about it getting much better. So one thing, though, here is I think the user here, Ali, is 100% correct. There's nothing preventing Valve from, like, when a game is dropped on your PC, it also has usually blank config files with it. Or if not on first boot, the config files generate. And there's nothing stopping Valve from making a script that just replaces them with ones that have values in it that are different. And GeForce Experience does this. They know the locations of config files on your PC, and they will change them for you before you even get in the game.
Yeah, and it can be done.
This seems like user crowdsourced version of this that you get, like, in maybe an upvoted profile that can maybe be auto installed with the click of the button on the game's property management. You could set that maybe for all games per default, specific per game profile. There's really nothing preventing this. And I think it is one of the last steps to getting the Steam Deck to feeling more like a console. It's already partially the way there. It has a lot of advantages over a console, but to get it, like, bridging that gap and making it easier for people who don't want to spend the time, like Ali here doesn't, especially for projects where, like, The Last of Us, I honestly don't think you'd ever get there.
No,
it's just kind of bad. So, but I think this is something they should do 100%. And then maybe it is part of the plan, but I haven't heard anything.
What do you reckon, John?
I think the Steam Deck Verify stuff seems to primarily focus on control and input stuff, where, like, it needs to, because there's a lot of games that don't technically support it. They're not verified. And if you always look in there, it's always like, oh, you might have to use a keyboard or do something like this. And that seems to be what they get hung up on.
Right.
But in that case, they do seem to leverage community profiles quite well already, which makes me think that this would be quite easy to just integrate the same for graphics, which would help a lot. But it also does really bring into question the whole Steam Deck Verified thing. And it does, I feel like graphics performance should be taken into account better here. Like, if you buy a game that says it's verified and it runs really bad on the Steam Deck, I don't know. That's not good, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I just looked at the Valve website for the Steam Deck, and it says games that check these 4 boxes are deck verified. Input. The title should have full controller support, use appropriate controller input icons, and automatically bring up the on-screen keyboard when needed. Display. The game should support the default resolution of Steam Deck, 800p or 720p, have good default settings, and text should be legible. Seamlessness. Seamlessness. The title shouldn't display any compatibility warnings, and if there's a launcher, it should be navigable with a controller. System support. If running through Proton, the game and all its middleware should be supported by Proton. This includes anti-cheat support. So I guess that makes sense, right? But, right. I think the problem is that we're getting a lot of games that, particularly sort of higher end games, that are just not a good experience. You can't,
right?
You how low do you go on settings? And
they check the boxes, but
yeah. So I guess that's what Deck Verified is. But there are certain games that are just too much for that particular hardware. I like this idea of having a community settings thing that could go in as a default. And we're actually doing this on our automated benchmarking system that we're developing at the moment for PC games, where the way our automated system works is we actually have like a bank of settings configurations, and we just swap them in,
right,
depending on what we want to test. So, if we want 4K Ultra, if we want like 1440p optimized, we just copy those files from their default, wherever they are. If you go to PC Gaming Wiki, it always tells you where those files are located. And then we swap them in before we run the benchmark. There's no reason why that couldn't also happen on Steam Deck, a community-focused settings that actually work, that could be just swapped in pre-first boot. Should work, I think.
I love the idea of like putting in profiles that say like, oh, this is the 90 FPS profile for the Steam Deck OLED. And you're like, yeah, I want 90 FPS.
That'd be great.
And it's, right? Like that kind of stuff.
You can do much more than just, a baseline profile that gets it functional.
Right. You could say like, here's a 30 FPS profile. Here's a 40 FPS profile, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That'd be
where
cool.
It's like different frame rate targets that you decide on.
Yeah.
Maybe even if curated creators like have like the Alex optimized settings, you have the nice like smiling GIF face of Alex waiting for you.
It's a thumbnail in the working.
It pops up when the game boots. It's like, you are optimized by Alex.
Man, living the
sorry, that would be a lot of work for you, Alex.
It's that last sentence that Ollie says here. Craving the Switch 2. I'm just reminded of Ace Combat 7 that's just come out on the Switch 1.
Oh my god,
which is really good. And
it's nuts.
It just works, right? You buy it, you download it, you get a great experience. I kind of agree with Ollie here. I think that maybe something should be done along those lines. It's the last part of the puzzle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.